There's a new study published in the Journal of Social Psychology from researchers from the University of Washington, and it's about gender roles, and their findings are both sad and incredibly predictable. So what they did is they had men squeeze some sort of a device that tests how strong they are. And actually, I'm not even sure it does that, but what they do is they'd give them a score which indicates how strong their grip pressure is, and they'd make it up, and they admit that they're making it up. But they squeeze something, and then somebody will tell them, okay, you rank this high on the masculinity scale. Either you're really masculine, you're average, or you're feminine in your strength. And after they did that, they'd then ask a bunch of questions like, how many people have you slept with? What kind of products do you use? How tall are you? And things like that. And they found that when they told a man his strength was average or very masculine, he'd be comfortable enough to not inflate the answers in all the other questions. But if they told the man that he has feminine strength, he'd end up saying, when he's answering the questions, he'd end up saying that he's taller than he is. He'd end up saying that he uses like various really masculine products, and he'd say that, he slept with a lot of women. Totally. Whereas again, with the other guys, if they said you have average strength or very masculine strength, they'd be super honest, and they'd tell their real height, and they wouldn't like inflate the things for the other questions. So the conclusion that they take away from this is, and actually I should pause before I give you that and say they said the same thing happened with women, with if they were feminine or not. How if they tested more masculine, they tried to seem more feminine in the answers to the questions. So it works with both genders. And the conclusion is overcompensation. It's oftentimes what we see with like the anti-gay people. They're to act outwardly so anti-gay because deep down they feel like they're gay. So what you see here is, people are like, oh, you're questioning my masculinity? No, I'm super masculine. And I'll tell you how masculine I am. I had sex with like 8 zillion women, and I'm like 7'3". How about that? And again, it's predictable, but it's also sad. Because you know what annoys me about it? It's like people are assuming that there's an ideal, and the ideal is more masculine, more feminine. But why wouldn't the ideal just be, for you, whatever you are naturally? It's not like, what, there's nobody out there that wants to fuck you? There's nobody out there that likes you? There's nobody out there that's going to spend time with you? Of course there is! And if you don't have that person or that thing going on right now, at some point you will. You can if you want to. So it's just, I find it comical because it's like, it's like something is hardwired in us at some level, or maybe not even, like pumped into our heads by our parents and maybe society, that this is the ideal and you got to strive to this ideal, and if you don't reach this ideal, it's a flaw with you. No, but why can't the flaw just be the bullshit ideal itself? If some guy's somewhat feminine and some guy is more masculine, so be it. If some woman is more masculine and some more feminine, who cares? I don't care, and I don't think other people care. I think people think that other people care because they might even be just way too narcissistic. Like what? Other people are going to give a fuck if you scored average or really masculine on your strength test? I got news for you. Whoop-de-frickin' do. Nobody cares. So, and again, this actually leads into a much broader conversation. We don't have the time to have it right now, but the conversation is, where does that really come from? I just kind of alluded to it before. Is it hardwired? Is it like DNA? Is it genetic? Is it men, because of evolution, saying, I got to appear more masculine to mate? So is it like biological, or is it more cultural based and like from our parents and society trying to put certain ideas and roles onto us, and then we just kind of adopt them because everybody else around them is adopting them? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not convinced on this issue one way or the other. But either way, like I said, I find this predictable and fairly sad because I know it sounds cliche and corny, but I think it's true. The best version of you is the one that's just being you, not the one that's pretending, I'm more masculine or I'm more feminine. Because you can't keep that charade up too long anyway, because the true you is going to show eventually when you stop caring as much what other people think.